welcome back to another episode of Over the Glass. I am your host, Jay.
Co-host Nessa. Go ahead. You can start today.
So, Mariah Fujimagari is doing a professional tryout with the Kalamazoo Wings. She had last played for the Connecticut Whale, and as we know, the PHF is no longer with us. The PWHL had their draft. They're doing free agent signings right now, and that leaves a lot of players after that league was disbanded, engulfed, whatever. I don't know. We'll figure out a way to describe it at some point. So it left a lot of women without options with where they could play in a women specific league. So she's trying out for the Kalamazoo Wings, and good for her. I hope she makes it. One of the fun facts that I saw about her was that she's originally a figure skater. And then she switched over when she was 12.
Interesting. I saw the video, I believe you retweeted, of her getting her first win and the whole team being so happy for her. It was so cute. Hopefully she makes it. That'd be cool.
In other news, speaking of the PWHL, so I hadn't really seen too much going on. It looks like maybe there's a lot of back end stuff that they've been working on, and less in terms of signing additional players to each of the teams. We do know that there were certain players like Madison Packer who were invited out to the New York camp to, show what she's got, and hopefully she can make the team. Grant Mentis was it Montreal? Toronto, one of the two.
Some Canadian team.
It was one of the two, because the other one was Soraya Tinker, if I remember correctly.
I think
was also invited out to one of the
Soraya
leagues.
is invited to Ottawa, I think.
Okay, so one of the Canadian teams out there. There was an article that was put out by the CBC. Right now, they're talking about all sorts of things that they need to sort out and finalize, such as ticketing, transportation plans, like insurance, ordering equipment, all that good stuff. They said that the thought of standing up one team in an existing league in 6 months is kind of nuts. But, here they are trying to stand up 6 teams in a new league, none of which existed when we began. And yet we're going to do it. We've never felt more confident than I do today that we are going to have our first games in January and have our first season in 2024. And that was from the Los Angeles Dodgers president, who sits on the advisory board. So,
I mean, we don't like the Dodgers, so we don't care for what they have to say. No. I mean, technically what she's saying is correct, right? Because these teams didn't exist. This league didn't exist. Except, again, they're choosing to completely ignore the fact that the PHF existed at all, which is... it's just weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, so, I mean, they could have done themselves a little bit of a favor and found more ways to bring in some of those elements of the PHF, because now they're saying, it's already so much work to just put one team together in this short amount of time, and we're doing 6. And it's like, well, there were 7 that existed previously. You could have done a lot with that. There's a lot of fan bases. There's already logos that are incorporated with all that stuff. Like, that work was already done for you. But I guess not. Next up, the league's calendars are up on the league's calendars, or the training camps, which will start on November 13th, right after the Canadian American national teams play the 2 rivalry series games in Arizona and Los Angeles. They're expecting more player signings soon once they work through, there's like several legal items that they have to sort out with the standard player agreement. And then the biggest thing that I took home from all these announcements is the fact that in terms of logos, it doesn't seem clear whether, those are going to be on the jerseys by January, but they say that they're certainly going to have teams, but they're not sure about logos. The president, the Los Angeles president said, I don't know about logos, but we'll see. We might surprise everyone, or we might not surprise everyone and just not ready to announce anything yet. But when we are, we will.
There's just
sure.
a lot of words to say nothing, really. Like, we might, but we might not. So, okay.
I don't know how much stock you put into logos, but I feel like if this is going to be a professional women's league, like, I don't see, like, okay, I understand this is like almost talking oranges and apples, or however analogy you want to put it, because at the end of the day, like, money is a huge factor in all of this, but not having logos feels a little like you're not serious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna feel kind of beer leaguey seeing them out there without.
Exactly. You're going out there with just like a purple with the PWHL just in plain, it's just you go to like the local hockey store and you just have it like.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like the city name at the very least, but it sounds like they're trying to have team names, just the logos aren't gonna be ready.
So just take out the PWHL and then just put the name of it. It still has the same feeling. If you don't have a logo associated with the name and really like put more effort into how you're putting your players out there on the ice to present this brand new league, like, obviously I'm going to be supporting it and all this stuff, but it's like for somebody to like be walking by and their first impression of this league, I would feel like your first impression would be like, what's this new beer league that started in this area? Or, wow, how cool that this beer league gets to play at this really big, like, professional arena. But I don't know if you're going to be like, what is this professional women's hockey league that's playing in this building, and all the other things you want to associate with it, if you're not gonna be having that professional look to have your players go out there and represent their teams and each other and all that stuff. So I know that they said that they've got a lot going, and it just feels like it's been much longer than it actually has been from when the PHF basically got bulldozed and this started taking over. But yeah, there's a lot of time involved to get certain things like that done. And as I was mentioning earlier this week, that it gives me even like less hope that any trans inclusion is going to happen in the first year.
Yeah.
That's like so far down the barrel, because they like the things that I feel like should be in place and ready to go are even in question as we speak about this.
Yeah, well, okay, first of all, I want to say, maybe when we're talking about what happened to the PHF, we should have a thesaurus ready for us. Just a different word to describe what happened. Dismantled, bulldozed, canceled. We'll pick one eventually.
Obliterated.
Secondly, yeah, this whole process feels really rushed. I don't understand why they're starting the season next year when they don't have all of the elements ready. It could be because, the players really want to get going, and they don't want to have them wait too long because of the way the situation was handled with how the league started and whatnot. But I also feel like, I don't know, it could go both ways. It would be nice to have logos ready for the season to start because, yes, it'll feel more official, more professional. But at the same time, I also feel like it's something you don't want to rush because you want to get the logos right too, Like, I don't know.
You want to look professional. Like,
Yeah.
And it,
But I mean, there's plenty of time between now and the start of the season to hire an artist to get that going, right?
I would hope so. I mean,
What?
I'm recalling earlier this week that, I mean, throughout the whole week or the last couple weeks, they've been starting to now push out job offers for people to fill in the roles and things like that. And I don't know if they changed it since I saw it, or if there's any way that this could be possible. I doubt it. That they posted that they're hiring photographers for the teams, and it says like open to remote.
How does that work?
That's what I mean. I was like, okay.
I'll
I
take
don't know. I
I'll
just saw
take
some
pictures
people
from my
trolling
screen.
it. Yeah, yeah. You just direct somebody. Can you
Screenshot
hold
it.
up your? Can you hold up your cell phone? Can you go like onto the ice? Okay. Now take a couple of pictures. Cool. All right. Send them to me.
Stamp your name
It
on it. I did that. Like what? Oh boy. This so far it seems a mess. But here's the hoping they get their stuff together.
I want to reiterate that we are excited for this league and all that stuff, but in that excitement, we're also still recovering from how it kind of came about. We're in, like, I guess you could say we're in our
We're
like
bitter.
mourning, grieving period. And so just little things like this, you know, it's like a way of like coping through the process. But
just
we're
complain.
hoping for good things for this league, but at the same time, just like certain things that are like said, it's you know, and then the complete erasure of like
An entire
any
league.
past league.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yeah. So dumb. But good luck.
Okay.
Okay, can we talk about our faves?
Go ahead.
So, Los Tiburones, the Sharks had their Los Tiburones night, which I think I prefer to Hispanic Heritage Night because, okay, I love this night. You know, they celebrate a Hispanic heritage, but I'm also bitter because a lot of the times it's only centered around Mexican heritage. So if anything, they could rebrand it to Mexican Heritage Night and then fine, I won't be bitter anymore. But anyways, that's besides the point. So Corey, how do you say his last name? Corey Masisak?
Sure, one of those.
He works for The Athletic and covered the Sharks last season, and this year he's working for the Abs for the Denver Post. He tweeted yesterday, Los Tiburones Night is one of the best games of the year in San Jose. Every year, the logo/sweater is a banger. Alas, no Los Tiburones in warm-ups tonight. At least the homophobes now feel protected. I love him because he's always very straightforward about how he feels about certain situations. And it's true, right? The Sharks hired this amazing artist who put up this Sharks logo that's based off of the Mexican flag. It's a great white shark. He's like fighting a snake. There's cactuses. There's cacti on there. It's very reminiscent to the Mexican flag. Obviously the artist is Mexican. They had a bunch of Mexican celebrations yesterday. They had mariachis during I don't know if it was during intermissions or what, because I didn't watch the anthem or anything, so I don't know where they fit in, but I saw pictures. For a giveaway, they did a luchador mask, which again is very big in the Mexican culture. If you don't know what a luchador is, it's basically Mexican wrestlers. Very simplified version of explaining it. And I thought it was cute that they had Spanish in their tweets all night, like translations. Like, posting the scores. Oh, when they posted pictures of the players walking into the arena wearing the jerseys, you know, they posted las camisetas perfectas. El dinero, I don't know this word, Re- recaudado de la venta de las playeras será para el beneficio de HFSV page. So basically, the money that they're raising is going to benefit this organization. They called it the perfect jerseys. I don't know. This is like Spanish I'm not familiar with because I wouldn't say I'm 100% fluent. And some of the posts that they put, it felt like they were just using Google Translate, which was kind of funny, but an effort was made and I completely appreciate it. I think during OT or during the shootouts or something, they posted a GIF of like, did you ever watch 30 Rock?
Might not be able to understand if you refer to it.
Okay, I never watched it either. I just know it's from that show. It's like one of the characters there, and he's like nervous trying to drink water from a bottle, and he's shaking. Yeah. That GIF, yeah. And they just posted nervioso because they were nervous. They wanted the team to win. Unfortunately, they didn't. But I don't know. Just like these details are. I thought it was really, really like a cute effort. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a nice way and a different way to get people interested versus just a standard, like we're just going to cover the game, straightforward, here's the score, here's a highlight. You know, it's a unique way to do it. And I think it gets people excited for these types of ways to evolve the game and to, you know, raise awareness, which is ultimately the big reason why we have all of these different nights during the year that have unfortunately have to get modified. And I'm trying to stay optimistic about the direction of it because there is a lot going on right now to not be happy about. But I have faith that in least with the Sharks that they will find a way to be innovative and creative, and like you said, even the players, they were photographed coming in with the jerseys. They don't get to wear them on the ice anymore, but if you feel like, oh, we've done it, we've stopped the queer community from spreading their propaganda because now they can't do it on the ice, I'm like, you know what? I don't really care about that part because they needed to evolve from that anyway. Because it's warm-ups, 20 minutes on the ice. And that could be 20 minutes that can be used towards another way to amplify and to continue showing and educating folks about all the different reasons why we have these nights.
Yeah, it does. Like, I was watching the videos they posted of the players walking in with the jerseys, and it feels like, I mean, it's nice that they're still making an effort to highlight them, right? But it also feels kind of like underwhelming, you know? They don't get as much attention as they would if they were on the ice. Like, the fans won't get to see them anymore because they're not allowed in this section of the arena where the players walk in. The only way they're allowed to see them is like if they go by the auction booth and they can see them hanging up there, you know? I feel like if they would sell them jerseys, give away jerseys, I don't know. It feels almost empty now.
It's valid feelings about the direction that the league is going in, and I am frustrated by it. But I have been frustrated in a different way for a while, where especially with last season, where all of this kind of started out, where people were starting to push back and not wanting to wear them and things like that. And it's like, yeah, we're missing out on all that stuff, but I'm like trying to be positive and push in the direction that just because they take it away from the ice doesn't mean that the teams can't find ways to to celebrate it in other ways. And this is maybe like the first of it, and maybe we'll see more ways that other teams will do it, but I don't know. I'm like less concerned about the thing on the ice because I just am trying my best not to be upset by it.
I'm not upset in the sense that like I'm angry about it. It just, like I said, it just feels kind of flat now because when I went to games on these specialty nights, I did go for warm-ups and I would like to like stand by the glass to see all the details on the jerseys when I could, you know. You could do that on social media because I'll post pictures or whatever, but it's different seeing it up close. But yeah, it is what it is.
I guess we should segue into the adjacent conversation about what's been going on with the league right now. Like, we already know from whoever it was that they decided that they were no longer going to allow these jerseys to be worn during warm-ups, and we all know how that started. And then on top of that, they have now apparently banned rainbow tape. And there's been a number of players. I thought about putting together a list, but, you know, I'm sure folks who listen to this podcast can think of one or two players that they've seen over the last week that have been asked about it, that have been reported to have said. I mean, Brian Burke has already like appeared on a podcast and come out and said that he's will pay for any fines that players are assessed if they decide that they're going to go against the ban and put on pride tape. And my initial reaction to all of this is that it's good the players are saying something. Now show me. I just, you know, it's we talk about it all the time on this podcast that, you know, actions speak louder than words. And now the players are at a crossroad where before it was like, hey, here's this night, here's this warm-up jersey, wear this warm-up jersey, here's some pride tape if you want to put it on your stick. And then when the game starts, we're, you know, go put on your regular jersey. And, you know, most players that may have put on the tape during warm-ups go and put on some regular tape or go pick up another stick. Very few players have kept the pride tape on for the duration of the game. And, you know, some other players have put it on and maybe not put it, you know, on the blade of the stick, which I will say I can see why they may not want to do that, because it is also a bit of the coloring of tape is used as a strategy in the game, and maybe they're creatures of habit. They're like, that might, like, you know, they talk so much about how, I don't like wearing, I don't like the visor because it messes with my like vision. I don't like when I have to wear the cage when my face gets bashed in because it distorts the way that I see the ice. Like, I can see it from that perspective, and so I'm okay with players that maybe want to just put it, you know, on like the butt end of their stick. You know, at least it's there. At least, you know, in certain glimpses you can see it. I know that there are some players, I can't remember who or from what teams, that were finding like other parts of their gear to put it on. So, but now we've taken this turn where they're no, we're not going to have you wear these warm-up jerseys. You can find another way to do it if you want to, outside of, you know, the warm-ups and on the ice. And but now you can definitely not use the pride tape. So there's these different things that have happened now where players are no longer being told or given these options on hand and being like, here's this night, we're doing this, here are your options. Now they have to actually take a step forward and decide to do something.
Yeah, and in the league where it's, you know, these players are basically commended for being good soldiers and following rules and staying in line. it'll be interesting to see which ones decide to rebel. It's nice to hear actually some speaking up about it. I wasn't expecting anyone to speak up and say, hey, if there's a fine, I'm fine paying it. Like, this is something I believe in that I want to stand up for. I'll admit I've lost a lot of faith in these players to stand up for these issues because of, what happened in the past season alone. So it is nice to hear it, but it'll feel better to see it, like if they actually back up those words with those actions and it happens. But it's going to be a couple months before we see that, because the first Pride Night probably isn't until like January or something. But yeah, we started seeing news that when it was announced, the actual company, the Pride Tape company, got like a surgence of a bunch of orders, and some of them were like NHL teams buying boxes of them for their teams. I'm like, name the team though. Like, I want to know which team it is. Like, who do I support? I obviously they can't, but yeah, I'm like excited to see what they're gonna end up doing with it, but I'm also like cautiously hopeful,
Take the news how you want to. I'm choosing to sit back and wait, because like even before all this stuff happened, like I was already getting tired of people just grouping everybody together when they would be asked what, like on a certain night in particular, like a Pride night, like how that makes them feel to support it, and they'll go through the list of all the different nights, and
always listing military night first, always.
And it's like, say LGBTQ, say queer, say any of those associated words, and just say that. Like, I'm like, that is the challenge. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say they're doing it because they don't want to like exclude, or they don't want to specifically, isolate a certain, group of people. But like, from my standpoint, it's like, okay, there's several nights that like my identity comes into play, right? Just because you don't say that, like, you in your statement during Pride Night that you enjoy celebrating like Lunar New Year, I'm not gonna say like but what about like the Asian people? Like like, no, they're asking you about Pride Night, like, I feel like you don't need to, in that statement, say all these other things. They're asking you about this night. Talk about this night. And so now that we're here where it's this night, this specific group of people, that's where I was just like, oh, like, no. Like, I know that all of them are like affected by now you can't wear the warm-up jerseys for all these different nights, but we're asking specifically about the Pride Tape here, and you've gone and you've said all this other stuff. Just talk about this.
Right, because no other night really uses colorful tape other than Hockey Fights Cancer Night that I know of, right? Because they have the purple tape, and I don't know if even that one's going to be allowed. Yes, all these other nights are being affected, but no one refused to wear all those other nights' jerseys last season. We all know why this is happening. We all know why they're refusing to do the Pride Tape. They even put out a statement that said something about that they don't want players to face certain backlash or embarrassment to support this certain issue, right? I don't even know how to put my thoughts into words here, because boo-hoo, you'll be embarrassed if someone speaks up and says, hey, you're on the wrong side here. There's people literally fighting for their lives to have these certain rights in this country. You know, we've talked about how many laws we're trying to be passed that are anti-trans, anti-gay, whatever, anti-LGBTQ in this country alone. You know, we obviously don't feel those effects here in California, but we see it, and it still hurts to see that, you know, people in our community are going through these things. And it's like, all we're trying to do is live life happily. We're just trying to go about our business. You know, I understand that there's certain people in this world that go about certain things very aggressively, and people don't like that, but it's not all of us. Like, we're just trying to exist here. In happier news, though, the day after it was announced about what people are saying, don't say gay pride tape ban in hockey, our faves, the San Jose Sharks, the following day, it was National Coming Out Day, and I'm pretty sure they were the only team to post a tweet in support of National Coming Out Day. I didn't see any other team. I don't follow all 32 teams, so I can't say they were the only ones for sure. It's the only one I saw. And probably their biggest hit tweet, because they got 9,000 likes on there. That's big for them. But they tweeted out, "Happy National Coming Out Day" with the rainbow emoji. "Today and every day we're celebrating and standing with our LGBTQ plus hockey family wherever they are in their coming out journey." And they posted 3 photos of past Pride nights that they've had at the tank, and it's just cute. I love it. Thank you for that, because I mean, yes, it's just a tweet, but it means a lot in a time where it feels like there are so many loud negative voices against us saying, this is all your fault, you had it good, you know, people were doing fine until y'all decided to quote unquote attack these other players and blah blah blah. And it's like, nobody attacked anybody. People were talking about them very aggressively, sure, or tweeting, but nobody attacked anybody. Also, I can't get over that trans shark. It's just so cute.
Speaking of sharks, or rather ex-sharks, did you happen to watch Erik Karlsson's first game as a Penguin?
I did not. Did you? Please tell me about it.
I watched a little bit of it.
How did he look?
They were playing him down near the left face-off dot, which is what people will say is Ovi's office. I found that interesting. Because why? Why are you doing this? And then I think they had Malkin on the point. Now, I don't follow the Penguins, so I don't know how they necessarily like to run their power play in the past, but he didn't score on the power play, so but anyways, so segue into Mike Sullivan's come out and said, you know, there's areas of Erik Karlsson's game where he feels that he can help and challenge him to grow defensively. And I just kind of laughed at this because I'm like, all sales final? Like,
good luck.
We know that Erik Karlsson is, you know, his defensive side of his game is not exactly one that he's particularly concerned with, as he is someone who helps to generate the play in the opposite direction. He's an offensive defenseman and all this stuff. But yeah, if you're going to have him out there playing a lot of minutes, and, you know, defense is an important part of the game, and if you're noticing that there's some problems with that, it is your problem now.
Yeah. I always wonder how people oh my god, what's the word I'm looking for? How they handle these situations with these bigger status athletes, because I'm sure there's an ego to them, right? He's won 3 Norris trophies now. He knows he's good at the game.
Oh, you're gonna tell me how to change my game?
Yeah, I like. He seems like a
look
great
at the
dude.
rings. Look at the Norris rings. Or I don't even know if there's rings, but look at them. Look at my trophies.
The plaques. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like,
Stick Just stick the trophies in his ears.
La la la, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how he is to work with. I've never gone to practices and seen how it works. I don't know how hockey works. I don't. Like, right, these practices. I don't know if he's open to this sort of criticism and actually wanting to grow in his defensive game. He's been in this league for how many years now, and you don't see much improvement there. So, meh. Good luck, I guess. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. You do you.
I just found it amusing. It's like, okay, you have fun with that. Shall we move along to how has your week been?
My week's been great. Now, if you're talking about fantasy, it has not been great. Oh boy. Okay. So, it's our first week playing fantasy. Me and Jude are on a team. If you guys don't know Jude, we've had them on the podcast once. Was that this year? Was that earlier this year? Yes, it was. Back in March. You can go watch that podcast if you want. And leave a like and a comment if you'd like. So we teamed up on fantasy because neither of us have played fantasy before. And we're like, well, at least this way we have someone to discuss, like strategize. I don't know. We don't know how this thing goes. We'll figure it out, I guess. This week we're up against Jay. And we're like, we have decent players. Like, this will be fine, right? And so the week gets going and we get a slow start. And we're like, okay, well, it's early in the week. We'll see how this goes. And then the second day of the season goes, and the players are still slow. All of our players, except for Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt, have had a slow start. And so we are not getting, like, any numbers. I think Friday night we were finally tied. We were 5-5 in categories. And we were like, okay, feeling better. Like, maybe tomorrow we'll see how it goes. And then we don't know what happened. Like, our players just aren't producing. And so we're like, well, now what do we do? We're trying to figure out who to drop, who to pick up. Like, how do we do this better? Oh, and then I just found out that next week we're gonna be up against Chrissy. And I can already imagine her smack talking.
She looks like she's really getting into it.
With all the moves she's making. She's so funny.
Like, look, this is my third season. I won't say I know, like, I'm not a pro. I obviously have some tactics that I'm bringing from past seasons, and I'm trying to, like, not jump the gun with certain things and things like that, because we do know with the NHL there's been a lot of changes over the off season. There's even been coaching changes with like I'm trying not to like freak out that like I started Mika on Saturday over Anjay Kopitar, and Mika got me like I think a handful of shots on goal, and Kopitar got like 2 goals, an assist, 2 power play points, and like all the other categories. And I was just like, oh yeah. But like, the Rangers have coaching change. I mean, for the most part, their power play like kind of has the same people, but it's like it tends to be a roller coaster during like the regular season in general. But, there were a lot of moves that I saw during the week, and it was just, like, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, she was explaining to me. So, that she drafted Vasilevsky, and he, like, immediately got injured, right? So, she had to put him on IR and had to pick up another goalie. And I think she picked up Vejmelka. And then once the season started, Demko went down. So she was like, no, I have to pick up another goalie. And so I forget who she picked up. Might have been Grubauer or something. And then Demko came back. So then she had to drop a goalie because she didn't have room. And so those are all the moves that you're seeing. Except for she picked up Stevenson at one point because she was trying to pick up some more games for more points or something. I think she's up against Guy. And like his players are going all out in hits and stuff, and he had like 36 games to her 26 games. So she was like, I don't think this is her first time playing too, so she's just trying things out. But that's what she was explaining to me, and I'm like, okay. And meanwhile, Jude and I are like, who do we move? Like, none of our players are producing, but like, do we wait and see how they go? Do we try getting someone else? We did something today because we had 2 players playing in the game tonight, and we were like, maybe we should pick someone else up, see if we can pick up some more points and kind of salvage something. I don't know. I think we're 1 in 10 right now in categories. It's so embarrassing. I was looking at everyone else's scores, and they're so close, like 5-4 and whatever, and we're like 1 in 10. We're like, what is happening? What are we doing wrong? So that's how my fantasy week's going. How's yours? You're winning.
I'm thankful that things did not turn out as bad as I thought it was going to be when I started Gustafson against the Leafs, because I was looking.
You got freaking shut out.
I got 2 shutouts.
Ugh.
Because I was looking at the fact that you guys had 2 starts on Saturday, and I think I had like 2 wins already, or the Jets had pulled through and won their game on Saturday, and so I was at a cushy 2 to you guys' 0, but then because his game was earlier than you guys' game, and I was like, but what are the chances that they get both of those wins? So then I missed. So then we tie out on the wins category, and I'm like, I guess the peak of my stress came from, do I start Gustafson, and I have to decide in like the next 20 minutes. The Jets game was just about ending, and then the Leafs and Wild game were gonna start. And then I think I was doing something else, so like then I ended up forgetting, and then well at that point the game already started, so there's nothing I could do. And then like the first period, like okay, they're hanging in there, like, you know, the Wild are like a fairly good team. I mean, the Leafs, like, yeah, of course they have high scoring, but as we saw in their first game, they can quickly give that up. And then, you know, then they went up for a bit, and then the Wild were coming back a little bit. And I was like, okay, well, you know, at least my save percentage is like, I think it'll hold up, even if I don't get this win. Our goalies did
so bad. We gave up on the whole goalies thing. We're like, they're going to take that one. Let's focus on these other categories.
And then that game finished like 7-4. And just like, I had a nice, pretty save percentage of like 0.940 or something like that before that stupid game started. And I was like, wow, you single-handedly killed my save percentage. Thank you.
Freaking Austin Matthews, 2 hat tricks in 2 games. Chrissy has him, and she's like, hey. Ridiculous. And then we were looking at other people's teams, and I think what's the word? She like, because she has Austin Matthews and I think Elena has Samsonov, she like indirectly helped her out on her fantasy team because he got that win even though his save percentage wasn't that great. Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. I'm not having fun yet. This is very stressful for me. Because I don't know how to work this to make things go better. But I don't know. It's interesting.
I think it was on Friday that the Devils played. And since you guys have Hughes and Mercer and Bratt, right? Mm-hmm. But I had Dougie Hamilton. So I was like, this is not so bad because if they score, most likely I'm going to get an assist and a power play point.
He freaking got 2 goals.
So I was like, this is fine.
Yeah. The first game, the Devils against the Wings, was really stressful because we're like, yes, we need these kids to get points, but we also need Huso to have a good game because he's our goalie. But freaking, they kept lighting him up, and like, I mean, he played decently, but his numbers weren't looking great. And then he played again Saturday or something, Friday, I can't remember. And then he just didn't do well at all. And then we have Levi as well, and he's struggling to get a good start this season. And we're just like, what do we do? I'm over it. I quit. Just kidding.
First world fantasy problems. So many options, so many decent options. Make so many decisions today. I stayed up yesterday watching the end of the Hurricanes versus the Kings because in my other league, the person I'm playing up against has had Copley, and I'm just like, I think it went into like 8 rounds, and I was like, "Are you serious? Finish it!" The Canes need to win, and I don't remember who scored the game winner, but
It went to shootout.
I was like, right, yeah. So I don't know who in the 8 round shootout got it, but I was like, thank God. we were like that other matchup has been like this. I think my friend jinxed me because I told him who I was going up against, and he looked at it and he's like, oh, that guy's gonna get murdered. And I was like, okay. I'm waiting for the murder to happen. Like, I'm waiting for it.
Got a few more games for it to happen.
But I was thinking last night, I'm like, I need to pick up somebody because I saw that you guys also have Vucinovic,
And he got injured.
Yeah. So I have him on my other team, and I was like, okay, who do I pick up for tomorrow's games that I can somehow pull further away from my opponent? Because we are like I said, we are close in all the other categories, so it could really go either way later today. And I was thinking all the way up until midnight, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to wake up in the morning and make a decision. And then he reminded me in the morning because he went to go pick up someone. I was like, oh, no, you don't. I see your strategy, and thank you for the reminder because I'm going to go pick someone up, and immediately someone else picks somebody up who is also playing today.
Why did you talk me into this? This is so stressful.
In comparison to my other league, our league is just, it's chill. Everyone is chill.
Maybe for you, because you're up by like 9 points.
I'm just going off of the movements on the waiver wire. With the exception of your girlfriend who's been leading the charge on the waiver wire. She is one cutthroat GM. Like, you didn't get me the win. Down to the AHL you go. No mercy. You're sick. Get off my bench.
Get out.
Like, Demko barfs it to his mask. Get off my bench.
Oh my god. Hilarious. Oh, yeah, I was actually talking to Jude about it last night, I think, or this morning, and I was like, listen, I know we just grabbed Jarvis because he's supposed to have some good upside and stuff, but he didn't do anything yesterday. I'm gonna cut him. And they were like, dude, we just
on waivers.
They're like, dude, he's only had, like, we just picked him up. Give him a chance. And I was like, no, you're right.
Put him on the 4th line. Put him on the PK. Get him off my power play.
Do something. Literally, like, everyone we picked, freaking Pietrangelo got injured, and he was the one putting up some decent shots on goal, and he's more like offensive, right? So he could have given us some assist or something. He decided to get in the way of a puck and get his smash broken into, and then freaking Buchnevich, how do you say his name?
Vucinovic.
Thank you. I'm getting my letters mixed up here. he got injured too. He wasn't doing anything, but he's supposed to be really good. And like, where's the numbers? Where's the production? I don't know. I want to cut him too because he hasn't been doing anything.
Is this what you said to them in the office when you brought them in?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you doing? Like, you want to stay on the team? You better put up some numbers.
You're the bad GM and Drew's the good one. Comes in afterwards to
Well, Jude's a lawyer, right? So they're over there defending him. No, this is just like my thought process, and I'm just like, it's really hard to make these decisions because we pretty much gave up on this week, right? Like, there's no way we're gonna come back from how down we are. Like, the numbers are decently close, but I gave up, whatever. And so for next week, we're trying to decide, do we use up all of our moves to try and get numbers here and there? Like, do we start doing this? Do we start doing that? I don't want to talk about our strategy and tell the whole world, you know. what are we gonna do? And I just need to stop being so attached to these players. And I think this is my way of doing that. It's just talking about them like they're just pieces on a chessboard.
Word of advice, it is a long season.
I know.
Every team is sorting out through things. Yeah, definitely take the time to consider before you drop somebody. Because even though it's a 10-team league, that could be the difference. Because there's, depending on who you decide to drop. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Because I think I lost like my first 3 weeks when I started playing like head-to-head categories, and so I was in the same mess as you are. I'm like, oh my god, like I have no idea what I'm doing. Like maybe I'm like not playing like, you know, the way that you should be playing and all this stuff, and then things start coming about as players start getting into their grooves and all that stuff, and then before you know it, you're second in the league, and then you get knocked out in the first round.
Sounds bitter. Is this based on a true story?
Because it is a true story, because I rose up from the bottom, and then my team became the Leafs in the first round
I'm so
of the
sorry.
playoffs. Yeah. And I was just like, you guys took a nap. Seriously. Where is the production this week?
Oh, well. All right. Well, it's all a learning process. We're taking it easy.
Okay. And with that, we'll leave you on a cliffhanger to see how this week turns out. Chrissy is clawing her way back up.
Oh, you should hear her talking about it. She's so funny. I told you she's very competitive.
Very cutthroat team Barzell to the walls got going on there.
Oh, I think Jude and I are finally starting to settle on a team name. So starting next week, or I guess tomorrow, huh? We're gonna come in with a new name. We're gonna be so happy with. Just need to pick one.
You are progressing much faster than the PWHL.
It's true. It's true. No shade here.
Okay. That's it for this podcast this week. As always, I am your host, Jay.
Co-host Nessa. Thanks for joining us in our crazy fantasy talks.
Bye.
Bye.